season finales. Most people love them. A lot of people hate them. Today is a season finale for Summer Scaries on Thai Town Reviews. Another movie that's being covered that had a poster that absolutely had me in a chokehold growing up. Jason X. The 2001 sci-fi slasher that said, you know what this undead mama's boy from Crystal Lake needs? Zero gravity and a cybernetic glow-up. This is Jason X. Directed by James Isaac, this flick was written by Todd Farmer, who even pops up as a doomed soldier named Dallas. In his 10th entry, and yeah, after Jason Goes to Hell left everyone wondering if the series was dead for good, Farmer's one-pitch wonder was basically send him to space and do it alien style. Studio execs were like, Freddy vs. Jason is stuck in development hell? Fine. Let's keep the hockey massacres alive by blasting it into the stars. You know, and it weirdly works for me. Even gives a decent enough excuse for the how as far as him ending up in space is concerned. And it also keeps the franchise breathing long enough for the crossover to happen. The score? None other than Harry Manfredini himself, the godfather of Ki Ma Ma Ma, bringing those creepy echoes through the vacuum like Jason's theme never got the memo about sound not traveling in space. Effects-wise, we're talking practical gore gold mixed in with 2000 CGI, low-budget charm at its finest, on an $11 to $14 million budget, which takes us to box office bonus. As stated just now, the budget was estimated between 11 to 14 million. So let's, for data's sake, meet in the middle and say 12.5 for the budget. So the budget would have been 12.5 million. Opening weekend, they raked in $6,649,006. Domestically, they brought in $13,121,555. Internationally, they added $3,956,327 more, totaling $17,077,882 for their box office run. The ROI for this one is 1.376 times the budget, or looking at just a 37.6 ROI. Unfortunately, that does make it a financial failure technically, even though they made 30% or 37% over their budget. But it was still a failure. Most people would tell you this was a financial failure. Most people would tell you it's a critical failure.
Trying is the first step towards failure.
We opened in 2010 at the Crystal Lake Research Facility. Jason Voorhees, played by Kane Hodder for the final time, is captured after decades of rampages. Again, with the Jason Goes to Hell movie and ignoring Freddy vs. Jason for a second, how and why is Jason captured and not in hell? Well, you gotta bring in Freddy vs. Jason. That's how he gets out. Then you bring in the book, The Nightmare Continues, Freddy vs. Jason 2. And like I spoiled in the last video, it leads directly into how this was possible. Okay, back to it. Scientists have tried everything to execute him. Nothing sticks. Enter Dr. Rowan, played by Lexa Dogue, the no-nonsense head researcher who has had enough. She pushes for cryogenic stasis to freeze him permanently. But Dr. Wimmer, played by David Cronenberg, and Sergeant Marcus roll up with troops all hyped to study Jason's insane cellular regeneration for military purposes. That's a big mistake. Why did that get a yikes? Well, you can freeze him and study him. Just saying. When they go to retrieve him, Jason has busted free, hiding a dead guard where he was supposed to be chained up. He machetes soldiers and chases Rowan as she leads him to the cryogenic chamber and blasts them with gunfire, and gets him where she can lock him in, but he stabs Rowan in the gut through the cryo chamber door, freezing them both. Fast forward to what we find to be the year 2455. Earth's a toxic wasteland because, people. So humanity's chilling on Earth too. A field trip thing from some future college lands on old Earth. Professor Lowe, played by Jonathan Potts. Asteroid Psychic KM-14, played by Lisa Ryder, because no alien movie or idea ripoff is complete without an android. And, of course, the pack of horny, annoying students. We have Sunaran, played by Chuck Campbell. Janessa, played by Melissa Aid. Azrael, played by Dove Taifenbach. Kinza, played by Melody Johnson. Waylander, played by Derwin Jordan. And Stoney, played by Yanni Gelman. They poke around the old facility and find the frozen duo. And Doofus Azrael fools around and gets his arm chopped off by Jason's machete. This is an important goof by him for later. They haul Jason and Rowan aboard their spaceship, the Grendel. They fix Azrael's arm with nanotechnology because future. Rowan gets thawed out and regenerated by the same nano stuff and immediately starts asking what happened. Is Jason dead? You know the bit. The kids are excited to see her brought back, but Lowe just sees dollar signs and calls his shady backer, Dieter, played by Robert A. Silverman, on the nearby Solaris station. He's uninterested in Rowan since it's very common for people to be unfrozen and walking around hundreds of years later. But Jason, he's a collector's item. They stash the dead Jason in the morgue. He also randomly knows about Jason Voorhees, which is the hardest thing in this movie for me to believe, which is wild. Maybe they know about him or have a couple of people who do, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Cue the first kill. Pure Jason X absurdity. Intern Adrian, played by Christy Angus, gets ordered to dissect the corpse. She says poor baby to him for being ugly because, come on. This is going on as two of the teens begin their hump session, which makes Jason's eye snap open. And then he sits up like the Undertaker. He grabs Adrian and dunks her head in liquid nitrogen, yanks it out, and smashes it on the counter. Dope. Practical effects chef's kiss here. Gory, goofy, and 100% Friday the 13th. Jason grabs a machete-shaped surgical tool and goes full slasher mode. Stoney and Kinza have finished the deed, and Stoney goes to leave when the door opens and Jason stabs him with such force that blood shoots across the room and sprays Kinza in the face. Jason then crashes a holographic video game and snaps Azrael's back like a glow stick. This section is dumb to me for one reason. Why do they need the helmets if Jason can see the surroundings of the game himself without it? He even kills one of the alien thingies that they're fighting in the video game. So, why do they need the headset? Anyways, meanwhile, Sergeant Brodsky, played by Peter Mensa, because, again, alien ripoff. Sergeant Brodsky and his squad of red shirts, including Todd Farmer's Dallas, suit up to handle the specimen. Jason picks them off one by one in the vents and corridors. Classic cat and mouse. The section with him hunting down the soldiers is so fun to me. It ends with a lame line of a soldier getting screwed, but the actual death, or the death reveal, of him spinning down the giant drill bit looking thing was very fun. Lowe panics and orders a dock at Solaris for escape. Jason kills Pilot Lou, played by Boyd Banks. The ship smashes through the station like a drunk asteroid. Cue the CGI space carnage at its cheesiest. The station explodes, upping Jason's body count by at least 10,000. And now, boom, the Grendel is crippled. Jason reclaims his iconic machete, decapitates Lowe, and the survivors scatter. Sunaran, I don't know, man. Soon. I'm going to call him Soon the rest of the review. The tech guy stays behind and upgrades KM-14, later stating, I gave her an upload. Gross. Because it is absolutely a euphemism that he had sex with her. This somehow gets her turned into a combat android loaded with guns and attitude. Kinza flips out, steals a shuttle, forgets to detach the fuel lines, although with this rewatch, it felt like maybe she did that on purpose, like she committed suicide. Can't say that on, like she took herself out of the game. Because right before the crash and explosion happens, she has this look of peace come over her face. Like, I don't know if that's because she thinks she's getting away or if it's because she's taken herself out of the game. I don't know. Rest in charred pieces, girl. KM-14's upgrade pays off, blasting Jason's arms, legs, and ribs, and blasts his skull clean off. The survivors think they've won, but fear not, Jason Vans. His mangled corpse tumbles into a nanite medical bay because, they got to do the feature tech gone wrong aspect too. I don't feel a program like this would be made with the capability to search surrounding area for more genetic material or whatever, but nonetheless, those little bots rebuild him from the DNA up into Uber Jason, towering, armored, metal hockey mask fused to his face. Evil got an upgrade. The tagline said it, and it meant it. The final act is just pure chaos. Waylander, played by Derwin Jordan, sacrifices himself by detonating charges to blow the damaged pontoon and to buy escape time. Jason punches a hole in the hull. Poor Janessa gets sucked into a vacuum, screaming, "This sucks" on so many levels. Brodsky suits up for an EVA repair while the crew distracts Jason with a holographic Camp Crystal Lake simulation, complete with the virtual bikini teens. This scene just furthers my questions about why they were playing that game earlier with virtual headset. I'm going to come off it. Jason falls for it for 2 seconds, then realizes it's a fake and keeps going. But not before giving us a hilarious redo of the now fan favorite sleeping bag kill, slamming one of the girls into the other with her in the sleeping bag and then smashing her into a tree. Brodsky fixes the door, then heroically stays behind to fight Jason and give the kids a chance to escape. The ship explodes, and this is where my wife said, "He's going to just float through space at him now, huh?" And I pointed at the screen, and she said, "Of course." We see Jason flying towards the ship, but Brodsky, being the absolute soldier that he is, tackles Jason mid-space flight. The pair rocket into Earth 2's atmosphere like a flaming meteor, burning up on re-entry. Rowan, Soon, and KM-14 still chatting head, jet away safely. Final shot, Earth 2 teens spotting a shooting star, and they're going to go check it out. But we see Jason's charred mass sinking to the bottom with the key, ma, fade out, sequel bait achieved, but no bites. This is the end of this link of the Friday franchise. All right, on to positives and negatives, or additional positive negatives. Again, if I've already talked about it, it may not get rescored, but it also might if I really liked it or really hated it. Starting with the positives. First up is Uber Jason, peak franchise evolution. That nanite rebuild was iconic. Kane Hodder's physicality sells the upgrade. Next, the kills deliver. You have the liquid nitrogen head smash, the machete decapitations, the vent stalkings, gory, creative, and filmed with love in most spots. Next, self-aware. The cheese factor shows. This movie knows it's ridiculous. The holographic camp pranks, space crashes, it all leans into absurdity without apology. It's a fun watch for fans who want Jason unhinged and would like a little bit of something new. My wife can attest to that. Next up, kept the series alive. Without this gamble, along with Jason Goes to Hell, there is absolutely no Freddy versus Jason. I don't care what you say. That movie doesn't happen without Jason X paired with Jason Goes to Hell. And the final additional positive, underrated cast energy. Lisa Ryder's KM absolutely steals scenes. Peter Mintz's Brodsky is just great. And the kills have that old school slasher rhythm to them. So the characters are set up to die old school with some new school surroundings. Fun, right? On to the negatives. All right. Characters are paper thin. This is not talking about the cast. All right? Leave the cast out of it. We're talking about the characters only. They are on the negative side. Most students are walking stereotypes. Horny dude, screaming girl, nerd guy. It's all stereotypes, even for the future. And they all exist purely to die with zero emotional stakes. Next, the CGI hasn't aged gracefully. The ship exteriors and some effects scream 2001 budget. It's charming in a retro way, but it dates the movie hard compared to the practical stuff that was very good. And lastly, the final girl. Listen, I don't hate Dr. Rowan, but she's kind of not given a lot to do and isn't treated as a final girl, really. Janessa and KM-14 are both more interesting characters, And Janessa absolutely probably should have been the final girl over Dr. Rowan, going off of what we actually get from the film itself. She just exists to do exposition dump in the middle of the movie. And for the camp hologram idea. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't feel like she's a strong final girl. On to the council decision. All right. Council is giving this film now, the best kill is by far the cryo face smash. I had a tough time with this one because there's a couple of deaths that I thought were pretty neat. But at the end of the day, the cryo face smash just absolutely takes the cake. I think Mythbusters did a thing on it. I don't think it's possible, but who cares? There you have it, Jason X. It's not very much like the rest of the original run, but really Jason can evolve anywhere, even 400 years into the future, with nanites and bad decisions. Speaking of the nanites, this is Jason's biggest evolution yet, from the original drowned kid in part 1 to the Sat Kid killer in part 2, the hockey mask killer in part 3, to the regenerating zombie powerhouse in later entries. Now he's a cyborg Frankenstein in space. The decision to go interstellar is both desperation and kind of genius, because the movie does work for the most part. Farmer pitched it as the only place left to really take the series, to keep Jason fresh, poke fun at sci-fi tropes, and then prove the mask still sells tickets. This did kind of work. Kind of. It sold tickets, just not a whole lot. Here's the thing about Jason going into space. Out of all the franchises that take the space step, this movie, again, speaking on the way that they actually have Jason end up in space, makes the most sense out of all the others that I've seen try it. The movie gives a sort of flimsy but easy to swallow reason for ending up in space. Is this perfect? No. Did it need to be in space? Also no, because honestly, there's not a whole lot that's needed to absolutely have to happen in space for the story to be set in space, I mean. But it doesn't at all take away from the fun that the movie does offer, despite the counter, despite certain gripes, and despite him going to space. I give this film 3 jumps into the future out of 5. Love it, hate it, laugh at it, don't care. It's part of the franchise. Drop your favorite kill or Uber Jason moment in the comments. Smash that like button if you want more horror reviews, and I will see you at Kevin O'Shea Field.